Yeah, so expect... Should I make promises?
Expect maybe one or two, playing it safe here, one or two more videos over the next month.
So it's 2026 now. I have a new planner system that I'm very excited to use. The planner itself is not from Hobonichi, but I bought Moomin-themed stationery from the brand that will last me until I die. Because I said so. In other big news, I finally got my hands on a Sony Walkman MP3 player to transition off of Spotify officially. And, most importantly, I think I'm finally starting to become comfortable with my creative process. I welcome you to sit back, take a sip of tea, and follow along as I share my illustrations from October. If you're unfamiliar, Arttober is the umbrella term for any prompt-related challenge that creatives undergo during the month of October. This is entirely voluntary, and popular ones include Inktober, Goretober, and OCtober, or Original Character Tober. Outside of these, artists can opt to make their own prompt list like Phoebe does in this example on Instagram. I, similarly, decided to make a Nulltober list that focuses on bugs, with less prompts overall to have a better shot at completing the challenge in a month. Especially considering that I was also busy with college projects. However, I forgot that the challenge is one of productivity, not results, and I tried to make each piece a completed work instead of an exercise of experimentation. With a smaller prompt quantity, I felt the need to overcompensate and ended up doing 3/7 of the drawings I assigned myself. This frustrated me, but at the end of the day, I'm proud of having completed anything at all. I had fun, and that's really all that matters. I'm sure that in the future I will have a more in-depth version of this information, but for now I'll consider this the simplified introduction to my creative writing project. It has a working title, which I'm still batting around to see if I like it enough to keep it, so for now I'll stick to saying, in the story, or the story has, that kind of thing. On screen is an arachnid hybrid person. I refer to them as Rachni in my notes since they are their own race of sorts. They have centaur-like anatomy and the most limbs of the primary human denominations within the story. The Rachni are essentially my elves, as I wanted to have a fantasy world that leaned away from high fantasy and into more scientific-inspired components. I'm basing the groups off the primary categories of arthropods, or creatures with segmented, hard-shelled bodies. This consists of arachnids, hexapods or insects, crustaceans, and myriapods, which are centipedes and millipedes. I believe that the Rachni are the most technically sound, or at least they are the design I'm happiest with. My roommate would gasp at this since she really likes the Asians or crustacean people, but I still haven't quite figured out how to draw them from multiple angles, so we're workshopping it. Design aside, you may be wondering if this is a particular character, and it is not. I have yet to create a long-lasting Rachni character, but I currently have 3 from the other groups, so that must count for something. The base concept is of a world post-apocalypse wherein humanity has mutated to survive within their changed environment. So all these bug hybrids are in fact humans and are regarded to as such, though I think it's obvious to say that there'd be cultural and societal shifts with these new physical conditions. Correction. All the hybrids are human except for the myriapod group, which I get into with the next illustration in this video. The story is not related to the apocalypse itself, as it is set long after the height of this cataclysmic event, and what was once terrifying is legitimately the norm, just how everyone looks now. I'm far more focused on the themes and messages I can tell through this environment than why exactly it is the way it is. Knowing this, I have designed the reason for the apocalypse, and even have debated creating a portion of the world building that happens during that time, but I also think it might be unnecessary or dampen the importance of the primary plot set far in the future. To explain away the apocalypse almost ruins the point of the story, that it doesn't matter how we got there, what matters is the way people behave under these conditions. I hope this makes sense and doesn't just sound like vague ramblings, and I'd talk more about this if I knew that I narrowed it down, but I have too many drafts to say much more with confidence. With the speed paint, you saw that I started to draw clothes and I got rid of them. Not because of their structure, but because I was having too much fun with the anatomy to cover it, so I'm asking that we don't make it weird. Please just take this at face value as me enjoying my drawing. Many thanks, Kings. Looking at it now, I think I'm going to have to pay better attention to the joint structure of the front legs and begin experimenting with the bodily differences between tarantula or jumping spider arachnid people. So maybe I'll have individual videos for the different types of hybrid people in my writing project. Yeah, I like that idea. Write that down, write that down. Another one of the 4 primary types of beings, I think being is the correct term. This is a concept for the myria or myriapod. The myria function as a part of the mystery of this environment, that they seem to come from nowhere and can be incredibly violent when provoked. They are also the most diverse in design, and if I had examples to share, I would, but trust me when I say that I am indecisive and put too much pressure on results over process. We're moving forward, we're working on it. Knowing that the Arachni are basically elves, the Myria are basically the fae or fairies of this writing project. In that way, they are part of nature, but also mindful beings that simply do not operate like you and me. In other words, they are nothing like the different humans in the other categories. Some live alone, while others live in packs, and variants of them hunt each other for ranging reasons like food or sport. Similar to the apocalypse, I do have an explanation for the Myria, but again, like the apocalypse, I wonder if in explaining their existence, I ruined their purpose within the writing itself. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it. I'm sure I am. And this brings me to the other thing I wanted to discuss in this section: challenges. 2025 was a good year of growth for me, yes, in the obvious answer of technical skill, but also in my outlook and the way I treat myself. Sparing details, I usually have a rough time in the winter, and as I have never been diagnosed with anything, I can simply say that in years past, I haven't had the best mental health. But with being in the art school environment, I've begun to thrive among people with similar goals and aspirations to myself. And I generally feel more optimistic about this being a viable career. One of my professors said that you have to take the work seriously, not yourself. This sounds strange without the context of what he meant, which is that you have to loosen up and relax in order to create things that have more meaning or cohesively portray the end goal of the project. In my case, things made from anger or stress usually reflect that, and vice versa. Not every project deserves importance thrust upon it, and when I think of it less as proving myself and more as just getting the job done, the overall result is not only less time-consuming, but also took less energy to accomplish. It may seem like I'm strictly talking about art, but I apply this logic to most things now. Crafting, social development, emotional regulation, what have you. In the end, progress is progress. And making the effort at all is something that makes me happy. Did I practice this mindset with the myriad drawing? No. No, I did not. I kept jumping around and tried to consider things like arm texture or hair layering, and got so lost in the rendering sauce that at one point I had to look down and say, hey, I've given this too much time. Focusing on positives, I do like the color choices and facial anatomy. I think my shape language is becoming more defined, so that's cool from a concept design perspective. You'll see it later, but at the time of drawing this, I hadn't yet decided if I wanted Miria to be spelled with 2 R's or just the 1. So I technically misspelled it here, but hey, it's good, who cares? Me, I care. It's Myrrria now. Anyway, I'll let you have some peace and quiet. There's a couple things that are different about this off the bat. First, I did draw the base of this traditionally on paper, and I'm fairly confident that I had done so while in class. There is also no close-up view. I had started to edit it into the video before realizing just how much I was jumping around the canvas and decided that with the dimensions, it'd be fine enough to just have the full view of the canvas. Let me know in the comments if you like the formatting so far. If it's boring or overstimulating, any feedback would be nice. Putting that subject aside, what are we looking at? This is the mouth of a hexan or insect person, and not any particular type since I just wanted to mess around. In the story, there is a group that voluntarily removes components of themselves that can be cut without greatly damaging certain functions. For example, the trimming of antennae or binding of secondary arms are common practice for them. With that in mind, this image depicts an operation on the mandibles. Again, as I was messing around, I would not consider this a solid representation of what their mouths look like, since I did not reference any actual insect anatomy for this. But you know what? I had a jolly good time, and I'll give it another gander in the future. I'm trying to engage in my interests more, which I think at this point very clearly involves bugs and art, but I kind of dip into all the cookie jars. I like to knit and crochet. At the time of producing this video, I'm almost done crocheting a tapestry style scarf that has ants on it, and after that's done, I'll be cable knitting a scarf for one of my roommates. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have yet to set up my MP3 player, but I'm aiming to do that by this upcoming weekend. Speaking of tech, I recently got a digital camera for pictures, but I'm waiting for the SD card to get here, so I'm being patient, guys. Almost in my scrapbooking era. I recently put my brain cells together and realized that if my campus has drawing tablets for illustration majors and the like, that they probably have sewing machines for fashion majors, so I'm looking forward to using them. We have a sewing machine at my parents' house, but it'd be too difficult to bring it with me, so having the campus ones is a huge development in my crafting multiverse. I've picked up reading again. When I was younger, I could blast through books within 2 to 7 days, and I miss it. I miss the hustle. During November and December, I was mainly reading manga, which I did mention in my last video, and as of now, I'm fully caught up on both Chainsaw Man and Gachiakuda. Okay, I'm sentimental for Delicious in Dungeon, and I think it'll remain my #1 manga on principle, but Chainsaw Man and Gachiakuda might be tied for second place right now. To be fair, in the grand scheme of literary things, I've read very little manga, but hey, I love it a bit, don't question it. The art style of both is so pleasing to the eye and unique in their own ways that reading them has encouraged me to continue working on my own world building. I kind of wanted to add something here at the end to put a cap on the video, to review this past year and discuss all the plans for the new one. Keeping it short, this is a Hercules Beetle on bok choy, and I turned this into a sticker to hand out to extended family for Christmas. Okay, so what can I say about 2025? First, my head is not under a rock. This past year was a living nightmare regarding politics, and it does not currently seem to be getting better anytime soon. I am also not as informed on the subject as I'd like to be. As such, part of my new year is properly educating myself on the worldly topics I'm unfamiliar with or do not fully understand. I am an adult and do believe that it is necessary to function as part of a society and do what you can to encourage change. On a less serious note, I want to work on sociability. My first year at college sort of blipped by and I realized that I mainly went to class, ate food, and worked in my dorm, which is contradictory to the point of making connections at this stage of life. I'm working on productivity, particularly related to engaging in an activity instead of just opening my phone or watching something. I think most of us can agree that technology use increased substantially due to COVID, and I don't say that to pass blame, but to acknowledge and say that my routines are not what they were before 2019. New year. Everything is samey, but also different-y. Side note, I started this sticker in a semi-realistic style, but I realized that it would probably look pixely when it finally printed as an actual sticker. So I started replicating Just Me Art's or Julia's style, and I think you would probably notice that with the water droplets and some of the highlights, but I just wanted to credit her because I really like her art. Yeah. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. I know that this video was longer and had a lot of information in it, but you're still here and that means a lot to me. If you're not part of the crew yet, please consider subscribing to see what I make this year. And if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. At this point in time, I'm able to read all of them and respond to most, so feel free to give it a gander. So it's 2026, and there's so much to do. These include Inktober, Goretober, and OC-Torbo. They have center light. So I started replicating Just Me Arts or Julia's. Give me a minute. Let me know in the comment. Trying that again. It may.